Welcome to the Arizona Pipe Trades Podcast, premier podcast for Arizona's pipe trades professionals, pipe fitters, plumbers, welders, and HVAC service technicians.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm Jory.
And I'm Taylor.
And we're just a few announcements real quick. EAC, May 14th, a Tuesday, down here at the apprenticeship is the date we're picking right now. That's going to be the date. It's subject to change because we don't have permission to use that date, but we're just going to put it out there and ask for permission later. Otherwise, you guys will get a retraction and an update, but plan on it. We'll reach out to you guys via email if you haven't already got it by the time you're listening to this.
And then from Dean, we've got two announcements. If you haven't applied for the WIOA grant or believe that you might qualify for it, you can go ahead and get in touch with either us or Dean for information on that. He should have sent out an email to everybody, but if for some reason you didn't get that, please let us know. That can pay for your tuition if you qualify. And then the second thing is that they're going to do a defined contribution pension, which is your 401k.
What was the date on that again for apprentices?
May 9th, they're going to do a seminar on how to set that up, and they're going to speak through that. There is a RSVP email for that. If you need that, go ahead and send an email to the Arizona Pipe Trades Podcast's email, which is azpipetradespodcast@gmail.com. That's azpipetradespodcast@gmail.com.
And also, if you guys have not checked your email, go ahead and check it. There are some surveys that were sent out as well from the apprenticeship about shirts. And what was the other survey?
They wanted to know if anybody was interested in moving over to Saturday classes, like the guys from Tucson.
Gotcha. Okay. So go ahead and check your email and get on that so you're not left behind or wishing you had participated. And you got any more announcements there?
No, I just know that Dean is trying to address some of the issues that they had run into with the apprentice shirts. You know, people were upset with the size that they had received and the material that it was made out of. He is trying to address that. So let him know what you think, and hopefully we'll get a nice set of shirts this next semester.
Yeah, that's just one of those things. You're not going to please everyone anyways, but what do you think? I like the heavier material anyways.
I'm definitely a heavier material guy. If you're working somewhere hot, you're just resigned to being gross and sweaty. I would much rather have something that's going to hold up in the fab, catching on things or, not completely burned to smithereens in the weld lab or things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely a tougher material guy.
Yeah, that kind of sucked going into the weld lab, all metal bondings with those new shirts, huh?
Yeah, no, they were all in pretty rough shape at the end of the semester.
Oh, yeah. That, and I was looking like a superhero in spandex with the shirt, but it was all good.
Yeah, just so for example, I normally wear a large. I have been ordering extra larges, and that seems to have served me well.
No, yeah. Well, not all of us can be extra sexy. Some of us are extra sexy, Taylor, okay?
Svelte.
Let's see, is there anything else we're missing? Anything else we need to communicate?
No, I think that we've got a good podcast coming up. We had two of the finalists and the winner of the welding competition. I didn't get to participate in the podcast, but it seemed like it went really well. There's a lot of wisdom in store in this podcast.
Yeah, some good dudes too, man. Real dedicated to what they do. You had Cody Long and Chandler Cortez come on and chat with us a bit, and it was really I had fun listening, and they dropped a lot of knowledge. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoy, man, and we'll talk to you guys next week on that date for sure. Keep an eye on your emails, and are we good? Taylor, we're good.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. I'm Jory. Welcome to the podcast. We're here with Cody Long and Chandler Cortez. Thanks for coming, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Me here.
Hell yeah. Just in case anyone out there don't know, we got two stud welders in the apprenticeship here. Went to the meeting last meeting, and Cody walked in with that super starched shirt. He didn't have the horses in the back yet, but
Not yet.
But I knew what time it was when I saw him walking in all starched, and just want to talk to you guys about welding, dude, because I said it before, but I think welders are the special forces of the trade just because of how much work you're putting in, how much extra work you're putting in, and you guys are treated a little different on the job sites too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those skill sets that everybody, you walk through a shop or anything like that, and everybody looks at the welders. They always have to stop and kind of watch what they're doing. It's one of those things where you're kind of the badasses on the crew, for sure. You're always looked at differently than everybody else, and that can be good and bad, I guess.
Hell yeah,
on who you are.
Everyone kind of envies you. I mean, are you guys the prima donnas?
I mean, I like my shirts and my jean stars. If that's prima donna, then hell yeah, I guess I am.
I don't know about prima donna, but I can't tell you how many apprentices I have to yell at the cop, stop looking at my welds, like, stop looking at my welds, get back to work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. But they are pretty sharp. I saw some of your welds, dude. They look really good, man. And of course, that's coming from a guy who's not a welder. So, I'm not trying to go one way or another with that, but it did look pretty sharp. So
It's all that practice, man. Every day, Chandler's in there. Every day.
yeah. So Chandler, how long you been welding?
Let's see. So I'm 23. I started when I was 19, and just like Cody was talking about earlier, I went through a trade school out in Mesa called EVIT,
Oh, okay.
East Valley Institute of Technology, and originally Pete Acosta ran that weld lab out there, and then Leon Zamora took over it. But let's see, it's been at least 4 years that I've been welding.
And both of you guys are going in your fourth year, right?
Correct, yep.
But you haven't had any welding experience prior to EVIT?
Just one or two times in high school, and that's about it. And even when I picked up a welding rod then, I didn't think much of it. So it's just kind of, I don't know, just those things in life that you fall into, as you go along.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I started when I was 18. I think it's the first time I ever welded anything, and it was...
How old are you now?
I'm 29.
Damn, okay.
So it's been off and on. I mean, I spent probably 2-3 years where I didn't do it, but most of the welding I did was, some of your redneck stuff in the garage, welding up exhaust on a vehicle or shock mounts or something like that. But I finally, went to school. I went to South Dakota, moved out there. I went to a tech school called Mitchell Tech. I was there for 2 years. It was a great program. I mean, they focus a lot on your MIG and your structural, which, we see a little bit here, but not a whole lot. And, I learned a lot of basics and fine-tuned a lot of what I had seen prior to that in that program. And it set me up for when I moved out to Phoenix and got into working for a company out in the West Valley, doing process piping, did a lot of food grade stuff. That's where I learned stainless, learned how to TIG, walk the cup, and that kind of thing. But it was very brief. It was basics, and that's how I got into the trade. Actually, one of the guys there told me about 469, and applied, came in, and just hit the ground running when I got here. And it's been great. It's been a real good experience, and learned a hell of a lot. I mean, more than I thought I would, for sure.
Well, what do you guys say? Both of you, I want to hear what both of you guys had to say about this. So you both came in as first years, is that right?
I came in as a second year.
Okay.
Same here, yeah.
Okay, so but still, I mean, you guys are obviously dedicated to welding.
Yep.
How often were you in the weld lab from day one? How often were you in there?
I would say I was probably down here at least twice a week. When I first got in, I think I started in May. So officially, I didn't start coming in until the summertime. I'd spend maybe 2-3 hours there, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I just got in there, put two pieces of pipe together, started welding, and then started to kind of meet people who were in there and would kind of ask questions, and finally started to put things together and took everybody's advice, figured out what worked for me, and then just fine-tuned it. And it took a while. I mean, I busted that UA1 test 3 times, and you better believe it. I was sick and tired of that test, and every time I went in there, I was like, this is the time I'm going to get it, and I'd bust it. I'd be pissed, but I wouldn't let it beat me down. Get right back up, get in there, and make it happen again. And finally, the fourth one, sent it out, shot X-ray, and put that one behind me and moved to the next one.
Hell yeah.
So,
What about you? I saw you all last summer, but I mean, were you in there prior to that, or during the school year, or anything like that, Chandler?
So, funny that you asked that. When actually my first day of being interviewed for 469, Gunny, the weld lab instructor, he actually had me do an eval right after, and I was there the moment I started till pretty much when they closed, and just meeting everybody there, looking at all these pipe welders, and you can't help but look at them and just think to yourself, well, these are like the real deal. These are the real guys right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I got in for, and I wanted to further my welding career beforehand doing pipe, and I didn't really have any avenues or how to get to pipe, and as soon as I got in 469 and found out that they do pipe welding, I jumped on it right away, because here I have this opportunity, kind of like my dream right in front of me. It's something I got to jump on right away. I can't waste any time working on it.
Hell yeah!
But yeah, pretty much whenever I could, any opportunity.
I think you kind of hit it right there. I mean, that's what it takes. You got to have that vision. I think coming into it, that doesn't matter where you're going to go. That as long as your end goal is to be a welder and to be that badass up there in a rack making a weld, or whether it's in a bell hole in a ditch in the middle of nowhere on a pipeline. I mean, that in and of itself, having that goal, that's what's going to take you through that program, and it's going to make or break you. If you don't have that vision, it'll be tough to get to where you want to be.
Hell yeah! Well, where are you guys planning on being in the future? Like with once you're finished with the apprenticeship, like what's one thing you guys want to be, where you see yourself?
I mean, before I got in, I wanted to do pipeline. I want to have my own rig truck. I mean, you see those guys rolling down the road, and it's just there's something about them. They're kind of their own breed, and that's one thing I've always dreamed about doing. And I'd love to be able to be on some big pipeline somewhere at some point in my career, but also get into some of the heavy industrial stuff, your refineries, your powerhouses, your nuclear power plants, that kind of thing. I mean, just to be on those high skill level jobs, and to say you've been there and been a part of building that, I think is a big push for me too. Be able to do something like that.
Hell yeah! That's about the same for you, Chandler, or what?
Yeah, I'd say my end goal once I turn out is definitely travel. Just learn all that I can about the industry. What different kind of weld processes are out there. The different types of alloy, the weld. Definitely, though, what intrigues me the most is the nuclear welders, and to be able to reach that level of skill to weld something that's pretty much going to be running a whole city, or just putting in welds that's vital to energy or sustainability. It's I think that's pretty rewarding in itself. But definitely being just a high level, skilled X-ray welder, and eventually nuclear. So,
how do you guys go up against X-rays? I mean, how do you feel? Because a lot of guys do good welding, don't like test, and vice versa. Do really well on test, but then,
I think, like I said, I mean, earlier when we were talking, you're your own worst critic. So every test I've taken that's gone to X-ray, there's always something in the back of your mind that's like, oh man, I think that spot right there, that might not shoot, and you just got to end up, putting that behind you and just let it go. I mean, if you did all you could and you use your training, get in there and put in the weld like it's supposed to, it should be just fine, and you kind of come to terms with that and just let it go.
You definitely if you definitely need to be able to pass some weld tests if you want to see if you got what it takes, because being able to pass a weld test, especially when it's being X-rated, before you can even think about it, you got to learn how to weld first, and then once you learn how to weld, you got to learn how to weld clean and right, and just I think that's really what separates the the men's from the boys, is the people that actually they take their weld tests and then they fail and then they take it again, and they just don't let up until they get that cert.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah! How many certs you guys got?
Currently I have 3. One UA1,